I run a venture fund in Boston. And actually, Quadrascope Ventures is well represented here. Two of my co-panelists here, two co-speakers in the session, Aubrey and Jose, are both advisors. And I see another one of our investors and valuable advisors, Robert Cargill, also in the audience. So it's great to have you all. As an investor, I bring a few stories of companies in our portfolio, real life stories of how they're working to solve aging. But before I start, I just want to say a few words about I've been watching the news about Israel every day. And I'm just amazed at the remarkable competence, ingenuity, and valor that Israel has exhibited for over a year now, defending itself. And no less impressive is that Ilya has the chutzpah to run this conference in the midst of this ring of fire. This conference is dedicated to health and huge optimism for perpetual life. So with that, I'm going to state what is the problem here. It's not new to any of you. As we age, we get hundreds of diseases, and these diseases really are symptoms of the damage that happens in our bodies as we age. And our conventional healthcare system treats the symptoms for decades until we die. And they don't really cure older people because they're not treating root causes. And root causes are these dozen hallmarks of aging. There may be more. Some speakers earlier in this conference pointed to other things that cause aging. We'll touch upon some of them. But there are a dozen root causes and hundreds of diseases. And for example, each of the hallmarks, say, take cellular senescence. This long list of diseases, there are companies now in clinical trials to cure these diseases by treating cellular senescence. Take this long list, and it's growing because inflammation, chronic inflammation, we're uncovering more and more damage that it does. And so all of these diseases and more are attributable to chronic inflammation. So that's how a dozen hallmarks translate into hundreds of diseases. Each one can be treated with the result of treating multiple diseases. So longevity healthcare, each of the longevity companies we invest in is really a platform. They need to treat a disease to go to the FDA and get to market with some disease that they treat. That's just how it works. But the companies we invest in understand the hallmarks and root causes, and they focus on those. And with that, they have a platform whereby they may treat, if you pick a hallmark, and you can treat any number of diseases by addressing one or more hallmarks. And so that's really the paradigm of longevity healthcare, longevity biotech companies. And with this paradigm, we already have, if you use that paradigm, we already have a longevity drug or maybe a couple of obesity drugs on the market. And they are blockbuster drugs. So take, for example, semaglutide from Novo Nordisk, Ozempic. It came to market to treat a disease, just like all of our companies, 2017, nothing unusual. But look, in 2021, it got approved for treating a root cause, something that's really a root cause, and it's obesity. And just this year, it's basically the same drug, just under different names. And just this year, it got approved for treating serious cardiovascular conditions like heart attack and stroke. And it's in clinical trials for more diseases. But there's a problem here. So the patients on obesity drugs today lose up to 30% of their muscle mass. And losing up to 30% of your muscle mass is not a good longevity strategy. And so a true longevity company to the rescue. So many of you may know BioAge just went public in September last month, and they are already partnering with Eli Lilly and looking to partner with Novo Nordisk. Both of these companies have obesity drugs that cause their users to lose muscle mass. And BioAge, their drug, azelaprag, actually increases muscle mass, and so it counteracts this bad effect. But we have an even more exciting story. One of our portfolio companies, Immunis, they went to the FDA. Their FDA endpoint originally was muscle atrophy, so they started with the muscle, and they started running a trial on people who are immobilized due to osteoarthritis. Their trial was so successful, they actually discovered that they also treat obesity with that same treatment. So why is that? That's because that's a true longevity drug. They are focusing and doing a terrific job, just outstanding job, on chronic inflammation, which causes a lot of problems for all of us. And the way they're doing it, so this is a hallmark, they're treating, but they're going up to the immune system. And this is not a typical drug. It's not a single molecule drug. It is a secretum of immune system progenitor cells. What this means is it's secretions of immune system stem cells. There are more than 400 proteins specifically selected to treat chronic inflammation very effectively. And that's really a big step up over cell therapy, because these are mass-produced, non-immunogenic types of drugs. They're accessible to everyone. And so now their trial is going so well. They just got approved for obesity trial by the FDA. They have a big pharma who stepped in to help them define this trial. They have a network of hospitals who offered non-dilutive funding to run this trial just to make it available early to their clients. Another story, a company called Deciduous, again, going back to the immune system. They are treating these diseases, pulmonary fibrosis and type 2 diabetes, by treating cellular senescence. Now, there were some interesting speakers early in the conference telling us about senescent cells. Not all of them are harmful. Some of them are good. The National Institute of Aging, NIA, which is under NIH, they now have a project of senescent cell atlas where they're mapping and defining the different types of senescent cells, whether they're good or bad and what their function is. But Deciduous knows their senescent cells. They know the specific ones and how to identify them, the ones that cause these diseases, which are their target. And they created a kind of a vaccine. So again, with the immune system, they are training natural killer T cells to kill these specific senescent cells that cause this disease. So we keep coming back to the immune system. It was mentioned a number of times through this conference. Is it at the center of it all? It's very powerful. We know that the hallmarks interact. If you fix, for example, if Menovia, who spoke earlier, fixes the mitochondria for us and gives us all youthful mitochondria, all of the hallmarks will get better. We expect most of them. And so in my mind, it's just a personal opinion, is that there's so many companies out there that we talk to as a fund that are all specializing. Each of them is specializing on a hallmark or two or more. And let them solve that. Each hallmark that they solve is a piece of the puzzle. It will help everything else. And in the end, the puzzle will come together. We don't know how long it will take. But every step, every progress with one company at a time, we're going to be moving towards our goal. Now, so Ilya mentioned biochange earlier, so I'm going to start with this context here. Is there a missing hallmark? And is this hallmark perhaps the most important one of all? And so let's look at extracellular matrix. I linked here to this Russian scientist's work, Fedintsev. He's basically saying that this is the limiting thing that's going to limit our life. Nobody, there are few companies trying, we don't have a solution today for rejuvenating or fixing it. So extracellular matrix is mostly collagen and elastin. These are long-living proteins. Collagen is with us about 7 years. It doesn't turn over, and there's no good mechanism to fix it. It doesn't turn over often. Elastin is with us pretty much our whole lives. So many of you probably know about glycation end products. They accumulate, they're sticky proteins, they accumulate on the ECM, make it hard. They harden it. When you harden the blood vessels, you get high blood pressure, all kinds of cardiovascular issues. You harden the lungs, you limit their elasticity, skin, etc. So that's a real issue. We talked to one company that's trying to clear these glycation end products, AGEs, from the lens of the eye to treat presbyopia, to return this elasticity to the lens to allow us to focus and read without glasses, near far focus. So BioChange is an Israeli company. It's probably our favorite company among many favorites that we have. And it is regenerating extracellular matrix. They have a biomaterial which Ishai talked about on day one. It mimics embryonic extracellular matrix. Now, embryonic is a key word here because when you're in the embryonic state, when you're an embryo, the cells know they have signal from this tissue to go build, and they go on this tissue and they can talk to each other and build whatever tissue they happen to be in. So if you're in the bone and you inject this material, there are bone-specific stem cells that will know which tissue to build. So the first market BioChange is addressing is periodontal disease, which is caused by receding gums. So as we age, we form these pockets in between our teeth because the bone recedes and the gums just follow. And eventually, when the bone recedes, we are losing our teeth. Basically, they drop out. And so what they did this year, they went to market to treat dogs, a veterinary market, and they have just nothing short of remarkable results. Now take a look at this, the pockets here, and look at the new bone. Now this just doesn't happen today, and yet here we are. Now this is super exciting to me. Here's another example. These are awesome images, computer tomography. Bone completely almost degenerated and porous within 4 months. And there's bone back there. So that's really incredible. And BioChange is looking now with the war going on at wound healing. They have also super promising results, too early to show. But this is going to be a very interesting company. So I probably am coming to the end of my time. We're a new fund. We've been around for just a little over a year. We have looked at over 300 companies. We talk to companies almost every day. We've made 13 investments. And our companies are diversified across the hallmarks. There's also a good mix of clinical and preclinical companies here. And, within the year, we don't have official fund metrics like TPVI, but more than half of the companies have already are marked up in a meaningful way. These comparables here that we have in this column, they really are indicative of substantial potential returns for our companies. And we also have among our portfolio all of these partnerships with these big pharma and healthcare companies. We can't tell you who's partnered with whom, it's confidential information, but this really speaks to the market viability of our portfolio and also to their solid scientific foundation. And with that, I'm going to end. I'm more than happy to talk further to any one of you. We're still raising our fund. and hope to channel more money to all these wonderful companies, including in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you.